The structural design of the arch is one of the strongest architectural forms and has a history that goes back over 2,500 years. It is an enduring symbol of strength and permanence. On our campus, the arch is symbolic of many things. In one sense, it represents the strength of this institution, its trustees, students, faculty, staff, and alumni during a time that tested the courage and resilience of everyone. Today, the Victory Arch has also become a lasting symbol of the threshold of learning for our students. First as freshmen when they take part in the processional through the arch on the way to Founders Day ceremony, and then 4 years later as seniors when they again pass through it at commencement. For thousands of our alumni, this tradition has become a meaningful ceremonial rite of passage in their education. The arch and its direct link to Old Main reminds us that this university was and is much more than bricks and mortar.
What is a college?
Faculty?
Students?
Bricks?
Books.
Classrooms.
A campus.
A community.
A college is a community of those who seek
To learn.
To grow.
To change.
To serve others.
To make a difference. Buena Vista College.
University.
founded in Storm Lake, Iowa in 1891.
A picturesque town nestled on the northern shore of a lake.
A fine place to turn the mind toward lofty goals.
Actually, I think Storm Lake was chosen partly because there were no saloons in town.
Saloons? Really?
None?
That's what I read.
Wow.
The small college boasted a collegiate department leading to a Bachelor of Arts, a scientific course of study leading to a Bachelor of Science, a commercial department for business-related courses, a music department, and a normal department for the education of future teachers.
October 1891. Dear Mother, I've arrived at Buena Vista College in due time and without much trouble along the way. The fellows boarding with me at Mrs. Barton's house are full of vigor and with many dreams for the future. I myself felt a bit uneasy of sharing my hopes, but you know what they are, to make you proud of me and to come home with the knowledge and skills I need to provide for you and my brothers and sisters. Love to you all, Walter.
In the early years, the college needed books, space, students, and money. In the midst of an economic depression, President Loyal Hayes advocated tirelessly to recruit students, to solicit gifts, and to persuade faculty to accept reduced salaries. He wrote,
It is the People's College. It belongs to no one man or denomination. Those who helped it to become great will have their names and deeds embalmed in the grateful remembrances of this and succeeding generations.
For the first year, classes were conducted above the Opera House in downtown Storm Lake.
September 1892. Dearest Betsy, you can't believe what it's like here in Storm Lake. The train brought us to the center of town, where a wide road slopes down to the lake. The college president was at the station with a wagon to take us and our baggage to our boarding house, where we will live while we go to class. Give Mama and Papa a kiss for me. Love, Hannah.
The first graduate of the collegiate program was Jenny G. Hutchison on June 7, 1893.
But there was no diploma to give her.
I'm terribly sorry, Miss Hutchison. Your diploma has not yet arrived. I assure you it is on its way and will arrive in Storm Lake in a very short time.
Imagine my surprise. Not to have a sheepskin to present to the first graduate was indeed a calamity. But Reverend McAllister from the Lakeside Presbyterian Church came to the rescue.
After much desperate fidgeting, I determined that there must be some show of faith. So after seeking permission from my wife, I offered Miss Hutchison our marriage certificate. And much to my delight and dismay,
I accepted it.
You have to be kidding me. There was no diploma, so they used a marriage certificate?
Now, what gives?
When my diploma arrived just a few days later, I returned it, of course.
The bond between the college and Storm Lake community was a prominent feature throughout the history of Buena Vista. When ground was broken for Central Hall, known as Old Main,
Everyone in town came to the groundbreaking.
school children were let out early from school.
The faculty and staff and students were on hand.
Interested people from all over Storm Lake and the surrounding area attended.
And a Native American, a man on a pony dragging a travois behind him, was there.
It was uncommon to see a Native American in Storm Lake at that time.
His presence was remembered years later as a sign of how things changed, yet the connection to the past is also present.
September 1892. Oh, Betsy, my dear little sister, you must work hard in school. I walked into Central Hall for the first time today. It has a high pointed roof and a massive arched doorway. I stepped into the front hallway and I felt as though the floors and steps and walls knew more than I did. That somehow it already knew all the lectures and conversations that would take place there.
The men and women that have come to Buena Vista bring with them their hopes and dreams.
I am determined to one day be a teacher. And though I have only a one-room schoolhouse in which to teach, I want to remember the feeling that I had today. Much love, Hannah.
By the 1920s, Buena Vista had already been steeped in tradition.
September 1924. Well, James, I will tell you I have never seen as many pretty girls as I have seen here in just 2 days. BVC is a heaven on earth. I went to class yesterday and I hurriedly climbed the stairs to the second floor so as not to be later to class than necessary. When I reached the second floor, there in the hallway was a group of the most beautiful girls.
The tree planting ceremony.
The senior swing out.
Sports and social events.
Hobo day and hiking.
Hiking.
Yep, hiking. Women's physical education culminated in a series of hikes, including a day hike to Alta and back, another which went around the lake, and the major hike to Cherokee, where the women would sleep out under the stars.
September 1924. Dear grandmother, you were right. I'm so at home here at Buena Vista. I thought I would be shy or frightened or homesick or nervous when called upon to recite from Plato or Shakespeare, or if I was asked to show my work in my mathematics problems, or debate a point with one of the senior students. And I was. But I see now that Buena Vista is a place where I can make my mark. I know it. I spend hours in the music department practicing the piano, the wind whistling outside like a voice singing along with me.
And each class had a special name given by the other classes.
The bubbles, the cooties, the dumplings.
I confess I nearly tripped and fell over my feet at the top of the stairs. I saw the girls all look at me, heard them twitter with laughter the way girls will do. Well, as you might have guessed, I turned the circumstance to my advantage, howling and acting as though I'd wounded my leg.
And special colors and cheers.
Like what?
Like this one. Ricka chicka boom, ricka chicka boom, ricka chicka boom, boom, boom. Hoopla ha, hoopla hey, hoopla hoopla, BBC.
Hey, how about this one? Hurly burly, hep, pep, pep. Buena Vista, pep, pep, pep.
And first-year students had to wear beanies on their heads for the first couple of months.
Some traditions are better let go, I guess.
To my delight, the girls rushed to my rescue, helped me to find a bench, brought me a cup of water, and cooed over me blissfully for more than 10 minutes as the nurse was summoned. Then the nurse arrived, and the girls were bustled off to their business class. It was then I made my mistake. I leapt up on the bench and called out to them, "Buena Vista beauties are visions to behold!" That's when they realized my leg wasn't hurt in the slightest. We were much humbled, Harold.
And the pipe of peace, a secret ceremony between juniors and seniors, as they put aside their rivalries.
Grandmother, I want to tell you a secret. I'm working to compete in the conference oratory competition. It will be difficult for me, as you know. I've been so shy for so long, but my new friends have told me I have fire in my eyes that must have been kindled somewhere in my spirit. So I'm resolved to reach for this goal and to attain it. With determination, your granddaughter, Rose.
Buena Vista also saw many years of hardship, years when money was tight and faculty and staff were not paid their worth, years when students could not afford tuition.
When education for services was lived out as service for education.
President Henry Olson accepted barter to settle college accounts.
In the 1930s, faculty accepted college housing and bartered food, goods, and services in exchange for their work in the classrooms and offices of Buena Vista.
Students brought potatoes, beef, butter, and eggs from home.
And caught fish in the lake.
And did laundry and ironing.
So that faculty and their families could eat, could teach, and so the college could survive.
The war years were difficult ones too, not just because money was tight, but because sacrifice and sorrow touched everyone.
November 1944. Dearest Mama, have you had any letters from Joe? How can I stay here at BV, knowing that he is in Europe fighting for us, but not knowing if he is well, if he is alive? There, I've said it.
November 1944. Pop, I'm going to be on the basketball team in my last year of college. There aren't many fellas here to play, so I guess that means I'm finally going to be on an athletic team, even if I'm the shortest one on the team.
I'm sorry, Mama. I don't want to make you worry, but there are so many of us girls here at school that have brothers and boyfriends and fiancés overseas. We all got together over at Beaver Hall in the basement of Old Main, just so we could talk and remember.
Can you believe it? Me, the fella who could never shoot straight? I know you wanted me to go with Billy to the Navy. I wish they would have let me go. I miss him so much, Pop. I hope you're not too disappointed, Pop. Your son, Douglas.
Lorna has a boyfriend in the Air Force who is a gunner. When we hear the planes from Sioux City fly over the campus, we always run to the windows to look up at them as they fly over Old Main. The professors don't mind too much, Mama. I think I caught a glimpse of one of the pilots. He was very handsome, Mama. Wishing I was home. Mary.
And when the war ended, Buena Vista prepared for the young men and women of the region to come home. And when they did, they came to school.
After the war, Buena Vista embarked on a building campaign.
In 1946, Fracker Library was constructed from an Army mess hall from Sioux City.
Swope Hall, the women's dorm, was dedicated in 1950.
The new men's dorm, now Whitehall, was constructed in 1956.
Smith was known as Science Hall, and Edson was Victory Hall, the gymnasium and largest meeting place on campus.
Old Main stood above them all, presiding from the highest point on campus.
Enrollment started to climb.
Optimism and a new sense of spirit emerged.
Were the beanies still around?
Yes, the beanies were still required for all first-year students. And if you didn't wear yours, you got a dunking in a cold trough of water on the lawn in front of Old Main.
Beloved professors were fixtures on campus. Gladys Keel created a speech and debate program that won high acclaim across the nation.
Dr. Albert Hirsch, an escapee from Nazi Germany, taught languages and culture and brought important insights about citizenship and civility to his classes.
George Reynolds, a professor of history, law, and government, was a passionate supporter of Buena Vista athletics and was loved for his eccentricity and generosity.
It was a time when it seemed everyone was willing to bring their own special gifts for the purpose of learning as a community.
Then, on September 27th, 1956, the unthinkable happened.
The timbers and planks in the roof of Old Main began to burn.
The fire began in the top floor,
where the music and theater departments had their space and equipment.
The cause of the blaze is not fully known.
The floors of Old Main were made of wood, as were the stairs.
The floors that creaked when you walked on them.
The stairs were deeply grooved and worn smooth from the decades of footsteps.
The footsteps that echoed through the building.
September 1956.
Dear Mom, I wish I knew how to write you tonight.
September 1956. Dad, you won't believe what happened to me tonight.
September 1956. Report to the city of Storm Lake from the chief of the Volunteer Storm Lake Fire Department.
As the roof and the upper floor began to burn, the smoke billowed from the windows and out of the roof.
I just want to come home, Mom. I wish I could just come home.
Don't be angry, Dad. I helped fight a fire. We had a fire at school.
At 10:20 p.m., I was notified that the building known as Old Main on the campus of Buena Vista College was on fire. The sirens and whistles were immediately activated, and we rushed to the campus.
As the third floor was consumed by fire, those who had gathered at the site could hear the pianos and timpani wail and thunder as they crashed through to the bottom.
Bunch of us fellas ran up the hill to see what was happening. The fire was in the top of the building. When we realized that we could still get in, we decided to bring out as much as we could carry, so we went in.
I woke up tonight to the sounds of sirens and yelling, and when I looked out my window, oh Mom, Old Main was on fire.
We grabbed desks and filing cabinets and anything that we could carry. We formed lines to move smaller things out more quickly. We just kept going in again and again.
The boys at the college had already begun removing items from the building. Upon first evaluation, we determined that this was a dangerous yet prudent course of action. We assisted by targeting the upper floors with our hoses until such time as I determined it was unsafe for the boys to continue.
Finally, we had gotten everything out of the registrar's office, the president's office, and a few other things. We heard the floors start to collapse.
The fire was so hot, I could feel it at my window. The light was astonishingly bright against the black night. I looked away from the fire, hoping to catch my breath to calm my heart. But as I turned, I saw many people from town standing on the lawn, watching the fire, and I could see their tears.
We attempted to soak the lower floors to prevent them from complete consumption by the fire. But the morning light revealed that the building had been lost.
We just stood on the lawn and watched the building burn. And listened.
Mom, it was as if the building was dying, and in anguish, the wailing and popping, the hissing of the water on the hot bricks, I can't forget it.
And Dad, I don't know if you'll understand this, but I don't feel like the same person I was yesterday. I've changed.
I've changed.
Without the courage of the young men and women of Buena Vista College, and without the assistance of the residents in the surrounding neighborhoods, the damage would have been much greater. There was no loss of life. No other buildings were damaged. The exterior walls still stand, though at least one side of the peaked roof caved into the structure during the battle with the fire. The building has been rendered unusable.
Old Main measured about 90 feet across and 70 feet wide.
It had 4 floors with space for offices, classrooms, the bookstore, the theater, the chapel, and the student center, Beaver Hall.
The next day, students, faculty, and staff gathered in front of Old Main in a prayer vigil.
The night had passed, and with it, the raging fire and fear.
The morning brought daylight, but it also brought clarity of vision. Buena Vista was open for classes.
Dean Wesselink, the registrar, had reconstructed the entire class schedule from memory and had arranged for classes to be held in Science Hall, Victory Hall, and the Lakeside Presbyterian Church.
What the students didn't realize at the time was that they had saved Buena Vista. They became real beavers. They had saved all the records and classroom items so that school could go on. The fact that the students found out that they, not the buildings, were Buena Vista bonded them together like they had never been bonded together before.
If loyalty were all that was needed to run a college, then old BV would be sitting on top of the world.
When ground was broken for Old Main, the college president, Loyal Hayes, remarked,
"The fame of this college will not come to it because of its building. However beautiful and commodious it may be, we never hear of the buildings of Princeton or Yale or Harvard. The men and women who here shall build characters more durable than brass or granite will be the glory of this institution."
And so we learned
that it was not the bricks and stones, nor the chalkboards and books,
nor the carpeted classrooms and new dormitories, nor the whiteboards and laptops.
We learned that none of this was or is truly Buena Vista.
We changed.
We are changing.
We are Buena Vista, her past, her present, and her future.
Hail to thee, O Buena Vista, alma mater dear.
In the days following the fire, Dean William Wesselink, a highly respected Buena Vista College administrator, wanted to make sure the arch and all of the meaning and symbolism that Old Main had for this institution was not lost to future generations. He enlisted a group of students to help him salvage the 21 stones that you now see in the Victory Arch. His daughter, Diana Mason, who was a little girl at the time, recalls what her father did.
When my father heard they were going to clear the rubble from the site, he said, "They can't do that yet. We have to save the arch." He recruited several students to help him disassemble the arch, carefully numbering each stone and marking its location on a diagram so the arch could be rebuilt just as it had been on Old Main. He believed that it was important to save the arch for the sake of tradition and as a symbol of the continuity of Buena Vista.
In 1959, the stones that Bill and his students had saved were reassembled for the first time in the arch at the southeast corner of the main campus. President Wendell Halverson called it a symbol of the future of the college. In 1984, the Victory Arch was rebuilt at its present location. It is 30 foot high and is aligned to capture the dramatic light of the sunrise and sunset. The Victory Arch stands as a symbol to us all of the commitment, determination, and never say die spirit of this institution. For all who have been associated with Buena Vista, the arch stirs countless memories and emotions. It is a rich reminder of our past, representing the convergence of our heritage and values with our hope for the future.
This concludes the performance of Out of the Flames. We dedicate this performance to all the current BVU students and especially those who are graduating. We hope that this performance will remind all those who are members of the Buena Vista University family that we will persist and we will reach for new horizons. Thank you to Professor Jerry Johnson for technical support and this cast of BVU alumni and friends. They are Jacob Amhoff, Heather Andera, Hannah Anderson, Chad Aubrey, Claire Boston, Nicole Boyson, Stephen Condon, Callie Friesen, Wynn Goodfriend, Suzanne Gubank, Justin Isbell, Katie Johansson, Crystal Curley, Erin Kylie Rossow, Adam Leach, Madeline McCormick, Kyle Meter, Lynn Olberding, Tom Rayburn, Megan Shug, Tom Stewart, Adam Thompson, Brandon Williams, and Brett Winters. The original cast included Ryan Knorr, Crystal Curley, Kelsey Knorr, Phil McLean, Cliff Coggins, Sandra Smith, Lindsay Warren Harwath, Megan Shetler-Shug, Luke Harwath, Heidi Stevens-Marsh, Don Prosser, Dr. Michael Whitlatch, and Dr. Fred Moore. The Cornerstone cast was Ashlyn Norris, Jarrell Madian, Jalal Madian, Vanessa Ellsbury, Tiffany Peterson Rasmussen, Jessica Watkins, Mateus, and Brandon Williams. On behalf of David and Bethany, and for all those who have trod the boards at BVU, I'm Callie Friesen. Go Beavers.